Today is Monday, April 28th, and the time is 5 p.m. We will start this meeting off as we do all of our commission meetings with a moment of silence, please. Madam President, can you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Let me remind everyone of the rules of civility and decorum which govern this meeting. Officials shall be recognized by the chair and shall not interrupt the speaker. Public comment shall be addressed to the City Commission as a whole and not to any individual in the dais or in the audience. Displays of anger, rudeness, ridicule, impatience, lack of respect, and personal attacks are strictly prohibited. Unauthorized remarks from the audience, stamping of feet, whistles, yells, and similar demonstrations should not be permitted. Please govern yourselves accordingly, as offenders may be removed from the meeting. Also, anyone wishing to speak shall complete a comment card for each agenda item the person wishes to address, which shall include the person's full name, address, and the numbered agenda item. Please govern yourself accordingly, as a person will not be recognized if the comment card is not completed in its entirety. Madam City Administrator, are there any additions, deletions, reorganization of the agenda?
No, Mr. Mayor, but I do want to point out that we have a request regarding item 10.2 for a continuance to the May 12th, 2025 City Commission meeting, and that's related to 3705 South Flagler Drive.
Okay, we'll adopt a motion when we get to that item then.
Yes.
Okay, we do have a couple of proclamations. The first relates to National Bicycle Month. West Palm Beach residents join over 55 million Americans who participate in cycling. Cycling is a viable, environmentally friendly form of transportation and exercise, and the number of people biking to work has doubled in the last 25 years. The City of West Palm Beach remains on the leading edge of bike safety and is updating our bicycle master plan with the goal of expanding the network of safe, equitable, and accessible bike routes. As mayor, I'm dedicated to maintaining a bicycle-friendly community that improves health, well-being, and quality of life for our residents and visitors. I, Keith A. James, Mayor of the City of West Palm Beach, do hereby proclaim May 2025 as National Bicycle Month. And I will be presenting this proclamation. Oh, that's so cute. Okay. Yes, clap hands, please. All right, we got the whole gang here. Yeah. All right.
Go ahead and take this photo first.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the West Palm Beach City Commission. Brian Reuscher, the Deputy Director of Multimodal at the Palm Beach Transportation Planning Agency. I wanted to just say a moment of thanks to West Palm Beach engineering and planning teams for having this proclamation on behalf of the TPA and the whole city. For us at the TPA, we look to the city as being one great partner in developing a really great transportation system and being a leader for people who bicycle. So having been a part of the West Palm Beach Bicycle Master Plan Steering Committee, I really appreciate the opportunity to help in shaping the city. I came to West Palm Beach 8 years ago as a resident. I'm growing my family here. I'm really proud to be a part of this effort, and I think I speak on behalf of everybody, maybe including city staff and other residents who participated in this plan, that they're all proud to be a part of this as well. So thank you for recognizing National Bicycle Month. We all know that we're happier, we're healthier when we bike, so everybody, please get out in the month of May and bike. It'll be a great opportunity, so thank you.
Thank you. All right. The next presentation will be honoring or acknowledging Mental Health Awareness Month. 1 in every 5 adults experiences a mental health illness each year, and 1 in 6 of our nation's youth currently have a mental health condition. Though we've made progress in treatment, those are indeed sobering numbers. So I made mental health part of my roundtable series of community conversations, and in those conversations we found strength in every story. We continue to urge residents, businesses, and schools in West Palm Beach to educate themselves and others about mental health and treatment options. West Palm Beach fully supports and partners with the National Council of Mental Wellbeing in sharing mental health resources, including support groups and crisis services. Therefore, I, Keith A. James, Mayor of West Palm Beach, also proclaim May 2025 as Mental Health Awareness Month.
Well, I will start. First of all, thank you, Mayor James, commissioners, and administration for recognizing the time, intention, and collaboration that it takes at all organizational levels necessary to support our employees' mental health and well-being. Tonight, joining me is Jennifer McCowan, the Assistant Library Director, and Chelsea McGee, our on-site Cigna rep. During the National Mental Health Awareness Month, we honored the absolute courage of the tens of millions of Americans living with mental health conditions, and we celebrate their loved ones and the mental health professionals who are there for them every day. Treatment works, and there is no shame in seeking it. Together, we will keep fighting for everyone to have access to the care they need to live full and happy lives. As an update to the city's ongoing mental health awareness training, we now have over 16% of our 1,760 employees certified in mental health first aid. This training supports employees with skills and an action plan to identify and safely and responsibly address the potential mental health challenges that they may see in those around them. Last month, our city was awarded the Bell Seal of Workplace Mental Health. This award recognizes employers committed to creating mentally healthy workplaces. The city attains this award at the silver level this year, recognizing our advancement from last year at the bronze level.
Hi. In honor of National Mental Health Awareness Month and its theme, "In every story there's strength," I'd like to take a moment to share some exciting news of our city library and how we are working with Human Resources and Chelsea, our Cigna rep, to do our first ever employee reading program. In addition, we have established a Zen room for our city library staff, and we've hired a social worker to provide on-site support for our families and our community. Our librarians have been trained in trauma-informed services so that we can ensure we meet the diverse needs of our entire community. These initiatives aim to foster a healthy and more resilient environment for all. We proudly accept this proclamation, and again, thank you all.
Thank you very much. Item 7.1, a presentation by S. Elizabeth Martin from the Palm Beach County Commission on Ethics. Ms. Martin.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners, members of the public. I'm Liz Martin with Palm Beach County's Commission on Ethics. I'm here this evening to speak on behalf of the Commission and our goal to enhance the public's trust in government and with that create a culture of ethics throughout Palm Beach County. As many of you know, about 15 years ago, we were created as a result of a grand jury recommendation, a number of ethical issues in our county that led to criminal charges. This means that also this year's our 15th anniversary. So next month we have a number of celebratory events with our Channel 20. We were created to provide oversight, transparency, and accountability to more than 12,000 elected officials, public employees, and advisory members in the county. We service 39 municipalities, one of which is your own. That just means we administer and enforce the county's ethics laws using the principles of fairness, clarity, and common sense. We also create a culture and support a culture of ethics within the county and encourage civic participation. And we value honesty, integrity, and character. That also means that with these local jurisdictions, we have training, and our training is available to almost anyone, just by request. And our commission is independent of any county or municipal government. We are governed by a commission of 5 individuals that are appointed by independent groups from the county and the Hispanic Bar Association in conjunction with the F. Malcolm Cunningham Senior Bar Association and the Palm Beach County Bar Association. We have a representative from the Palm Beach County Association of Chiefs of Police, the Association of Certified Fraud Investigators, a Florida Atlantic University ethics professor, and the League of Cities. As you are aware, county government in every municipality is subject to our jurisdiction. The Code of Ethics is about a 10 to 12-page document, and just last week I dropped off some pocket guides for the staff and administration here, and that pocket guide is the backstop to enhance the public's trust by ensuring that public officials and employees conduct themselves independently and impartially. They don't use their public office for private gain, and they disclose any voting conflicts. Most often you hear about gifts and gifts reporting. The very key to a successful ethics program is education and prevention, which is why I'm here this evening as the Education and Communications Manager, and my goal is to educate the public on who we are and what we do. The ongoing training, all the advisory opinions, and the establishment of a culture of ethics is our goal. Again, the staff is trained and available to provide training throughout the county. We also are really good at our advisory opinions. That's our model for ask first, act later, meaning ask those questions in advance. We have more than 560 of those to date. So while the commission has statutory authority as a quasi-judicial code enforcement board, most often is a letter of instruction, a letter of reprimand, and in some extreme cases, a fine up to $500. But ultimately, our goal is to educate the community so we prevent those violations before they occur. In closing, we can only do our job well with the public support. So in doing so, please remember your solemn duty to consider the ethics of your actions so we can all live in a community that values ethics. If you have questions, like to speak to anyone, we are at 561-355-1915. Our web address is palmbeachcountyethics.com. And again, you can find us on social media, PBC, COE, and a number of those celebratory events will be on social media for our 15th anniversary. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that presentation, for all the work you all do.
Thank you.
We now have a receive and file from the Internal Audit Department, submitting their report, IT Internal Penetration Test Audit Report. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
We have to receive and file.
Mayor, I move that we approve, receive, and file.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed, like sign. Hearing no opposition, motion carries unanimously. There may be some here who want to speak on item 10.2. When we get there, we're going to be continuing that item. We're not going to hear it this evening. So if you would like to, so we're not accepting comment cards on that item. I mean, if you want to speak during the general comment, you can, or if you want to leave and we'll have a date certain when we're going to reconsider that, you can certainly leave. But I just wanted to make you aware earlier in the agenda that we won't be considering that item this evening. Okay, consent calendar, items 9.1 through 9.12. Any comments, questions on consent? Items 9.1 through 9.12? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move approval of the consent calendar, items 9.1 to 9.12.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Hearing no opposition, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Now we're going to turn to the quasi-judicial portion of the meeting. And Commissioners, I need you to make your disclosures. Looks like Commissioner Ward is ready.
As to item 10.1, I have not had ex parte communications. I have not received written communications. I have not conducted an investigation. I have made a site visit. I have not received expert opinions. As to item 10.3, I have had a meeting with the representative of the applicant. I have not received written communications, have not conducted an investigation, have not made a site visit, have not received expert opinions. I request these disclosures and all written communications be made part of the record.
President Lambert.
Thank you. As to item 10.1, I have not had ex parte communications, not received written communications, not conducted an investigation, not made a site visit, nor have I received expert opinions. As to item 10.3, I have had ex parte communications with the applicant. I have not received written communications. I have not conducted an investigation. I have not made a site visit, and I have not received expert opinions. I request that these disclosures and all written communications be made part of the record.
Commissioner Baduzzi.
As to item 10.1, I have not had ex parte communications. I have not received written communications. I have not conducted an investigation. I have not made a site visit, nor have I received any expert opinions. As to item 10.3, I have had ex parte communications with a representative of the applicant. I have not received written communications. I have not conducted an investigation. I have not made a site visit, nor have I received any expert opinions. I request that these disclosures and all written communications be made a part of the record.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, can you swear in all witnesses, please?
Would everyone wishing to speak on items 10.1 and 10.3 please stand and raise your right hand? Do you swear that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Very good, thank you. Item 10.1, public hearing and first reading of ordinance number 5127-25 regarding a rezoning to change the zoning designation of approximately plus or minus 41.3 acres located at 4200 North Australian Avenue from Community Service, CS, to Community Service Plan Development, CSPD, and discussion of resolution number 94-25 regarding the development regulations and conditions for the county's Community Services Department planned community service development.
Good afternoon. Thank you. Very excited to be here. My name is Alfonso Hernandez. I'm an architect here in West Palm Beach, and I'm here to give this presentation on behalf of Palm Beach County. So as you know, the request here is to rezone and to do a site plan approval. We have been very fortunate. We've gotten an approval at this point from Planning and Board, and we would like to hopefully continue that same thought process today. So I'm going to take you through a presentation and just present some of the folks that may be here real quickly. As I mentioned, the project is on behalf of Palm Beach County. There's different departments of the Palm Beach County that we're representing. In this case is the Facilities and Development Operations, and that is the director there is Isame Ayala Acola. We also have our project Thank you. We also have our project team from Capital Improvements, which includes Terry Wolf, Fernando Delgado, and Eric McClellan. And then more importantly, we also have community service representatives, in this case, Dr. James Green, who is also here. And so the project is for community service. This is a building that will be, it's in the process of permitting and will be built pretty soon. So I'll take you through the presentation shortly. So a little bit of a background. The 45th Street is a complex that the county owns. They've owned it for a long time. As you can see there, it dates all the way back from the 1900s. It's a 41-acre parcel, and it used to be part of a complex that was also including the community home that was demolished back in 2014. So the property has always been part of the county, let's say, some of the properties in the county, it's always been run by the county, and so they're going to continue doing the same thing in this particular case. So a little bit of a background. The project started, in this case, back in 2016. It had to do with the 1 penny sales tax, and it was in order to be able to let's say, replace the 1810 Datura building. That's where the current facility is located for community service. And part of the funding there was going to also be incorporated with this year's funding and next year's funding. So the uniqueness of the building, of course, has to do with its placement. So 810 Datura Street was originally committed to the University of Florida back in 2022. And since at that point, the project was basically moved forward a little bit quickly in order to be able to meet some of the requirements for the university. Since then, obviously Vanderbilt University is the one who is going to be building the university at that particular location. So for us, there's a certain amount of urgency to be able to make sure that we go through our process, receive our approvals, build the building, be able to have community service in their new facility along 45th Street so that Vanderbilt also can come to town. So as far as the location is concerned, we are between Datura and Avernia. And as you can see, those are some of the existing images of the existing facility. The existing facility is made up of 3.5 acre site. It was developed back in 1955, so it's been around for a long time. It's 28,755 is the actual existing building footprint, but it currently doesn't really support the total employees for community service development. So roughly, that's only about half of their employees that are there, and this is why they needed to be able to have a new facility. Also, there was a plan by the county at some point for that particular site to have a 350,000 square foot future office, but obviously that's not going to take place in this particular site. So as far as the programming is concerned, regarding on 45th Street, and we'll share some of the documents in a minute, you'll be able to see that it has existing facilities that are currently there. Those will remain. There are a few other things that are happening along 45th Street. This is between 45th Street and Australian. There is an Australian Avenue Road drainage project. It's not under our particular scope, but the county is working on that. Obviously, it's for us to provide the new 60,000 square foot building at that location. And also for the future, there is a 350,000 square foot county office. So that's part of a long-term range plan. It is not part of their current 5-year study, but in the future, it may happen at some point. So here's the actual site plan on 45th Street. As I mentioned, at the top is 45th Street. Australian is to the left-hand side. And this just shows a little bit of the context of what is there. Currently, we do have a victim center building, which is 8,300 square feet. We have the High Ridge family, which is 32,000 rather, square feet. And then we also have a portion of the site that is leased by the school district. And there's also a warehouse that is also primarily used by the school. And then some of the constraints, just so you can have a context of the actual site, there's different things that are creating kind of some boundaries for us. Obviously, 45th and Australian is one of them. As I mentioned, some of the existing buildings are others. There are intersections on 43rd, which is located approximately in this location, and another intersection on 42nd. So we're going to keep the existing buildings that are there. Also, as I mentioned, there is a canal expansion, which is part of a work that the county is doing, I believe in conjunction with the city. And there's a canal expansion to help with drainage, and it's going to be located along the southeast corner, as you can see. And also in the middle on the high ground, there is a historic cemetery or a pauper's field. So that pauper's field is there, and we are going to maintain it, and we're not going to build anything on that particular location. So as far as the actual project itself, there's different phases. So the first phase is really the phase, and you'll see that in enlargement in a minute. That's this area down in this location. But items 1, 2, 3, and 4 are part of the master plan. We are not doing the work at this point. That'll be part of the future work. And so the number 1 refers to the 350,000 square foot facility that'll be planned sometime in the future, but not at this point. There's going to be a adjacent parking garage, future area for development, and a lake. So that's all part of a future development that is not going to occur, but part of what we needed to do is just to kind of have the overall vision of the site and try to understand how to best develop it. So our ask for today and for this particular project is really building number, or item number 5, which is the building that we currently have. 8 is going to be a new driveway coming in from Australian. 13 is going to be a signalization that will happen along that particular location. Is going to be really important for the county, also for the community, because it's going to allow a lot more of a safe access to the building and out of the building. Currently, there is not, we don't have a signalization. Number 9 also refers to an actual, let's say, water retention. 10 is going to be a lake that we're going to do. And then, as I mentioned, the other ones are existing. Number 7 is existing. Number 12 and number 11 is the canal expansion project that's not being done by us, but that will be part of the particular site. So as I mentioned, we do have some, considerations in here. Obviously, the existing constraints, as I mentioned to you, is important. The continuing of operations of the facilities are there are really important as well. Consolidation and proximity, those things are important. We need to be compatible as well. And so we're looking at those avenues, as I mentioned, also accessibility and then property value. So there's a lot that went into the consideration of the master plan. As I mentioned, this is the enlarged plan here. And in this case, it has to do with, again, the 60,000 square foot for community service with their new driveway. And it's going to, obviously going to be closer to that west corner along Australian Avenue. And in this case, it was really important to align this new intersection with the streets. That's something that the county roadway team has requested. So, and to go into the details, then we have a little bit less than 60,000. We're 59,238 is a square feet. It's a 2-story office building, again, for community service. There's 169 parking spaces that are required, but we're providing a little bit more than that at 192. One of the requirements, one of the things that we did that the county really liked, they wanted to have a 20-foot landscaping buffer, so it's more than what the city requires. Again, approximately 9-acre site, and the building is going to be named after Maud Ford Lee, the former commissioners for the county. So as I mentioned, we're going to have the signalization right there on 42nd as well. And then obviously internally, we're going to create a lot of the internal communications. So as far as the site is concerned, as you can see, that is the building, that is Australian, that is the driveway, as we are approaching a little bit more of what the design is going to look like. Here is let's say, an isometric view aerial of the actual building on how it sits. As you can see, there's a lot of landscaping. That's something that the county really was very much in favor. They didn't want the minimum. They wanted something that was a lot more lush, and also to create it, as far as they felt, really good communications and also a good neighbor with the adjacent neighborhoods. Here's an image of the, let's say, front view. There's a plaza as you approach the building, and then the 2 trees are a little bit symbolic to what community service and their logo is, in which we have these trees and these arms that are colorful and that are basically helping to nourish and create a little bit of an interest as far as the architecture is concerned. And so there is a plaza right on the foreground. And then, as you can see, we're going to take you real quickly through the camera, and you'll start seeing what those images will look like. So again, we have a plaza, we have the building, which is, as you can see, the Maud Ford Lee building, and along with its logo. And as you start turning the camera, you start noticing that, there's a very beautiful palette also with colors. And the colors represent some of the ideas of what community service has, which is a certain amount of diversity, and the colors have a certain amount of meaning that go along with it. And so in this case, again, refers to diversity, but something that's actually really nice and pleasant that you can see along the streets. And here's another view of the building itself. So as far as the future is concerned, as I already mentioned, there is planning for a 350,000 square foot, but that's not at this point. It's likely going to be a 4-story building, but again, that's future, and we're not really quite sure. It will also be accompanied with a parking structure in the future at some point, and it's approximately 10 acres, and it'll be adjacent with the health department. So we're going to look at sharing the entrance along 45th Street. So again, those are just part of the future ideas. Now, as far as the current request, currently we do have a community service, which is the current CS district, and we are proposing to have a community service plan district. And there's several reasons why we're hoping to, again, achieve this request. One of them is because in the future it allows a little bit more flexibility on building height. So instead of 60, we could potentially go a little taller, depending on how that future master plan works. As far as the area, there is a larger FAR, not too much, but the fact is the counties are actually not interested in increasing really the FAR. It's really potentially height, but also parking. And so right now, the current zoning request, or the current zoning has a parking office requirements of 1 to 200, which is a lot. And it's really not needed. And so that's one of the things that they were very mindful of, is I wanted to make sure this is not just one big parking structure. So that is the request. We're a little bit lower parking, a little bit extra height. And so at this point, it seems to make a lot of sense to us. So this just brings us to our schedule as we wrap up here. At this point, we are right here in permitting between March 2025 to September 2025. And so we are trying to get a permit. So construction will likely start around October, as you can see there. Currently, we're going through our exercise of pricing. So hopefully pretty soon we'll be moving forward with construction. And so if everything goes well, then we're looking at a construction schedule, which is about approximately 20 months or so. And so that'll put us between spring to summer of 2027 for the new facility that will align with, obviously, with Vanderbilt coming to town. And that ends my presentation.
Very good. Thank you for that presentation. Any questions of the applicant before we turn to staff? Commissioner Ward?
Thank you for the presentation. I have a couple questions. So you said the height limits, you want to go up to 80 even though you're only planning 32?
So this particular building is 32, but it's for the future. It's for the future 350,000 square feet. So 60 puts us right at the edge, but we likely may be 70 feet or 65. And so we were getting very, very tight as we consider the future. And so because it's a planned development, we thought it made some sense to have that flexibility, but also for the parking.
Okay. And then as far as what services are being provided in the community center, can you go into the details of that?
Sure, of course. So there's various departments that community service has. On the first floor, they do have the senior and veterans department. So they will be operating through there. They will also have the homelessness action group that are going to be there that will help the community. There will also be a call center that will be receiving calls. It's a smaller department, but that's also part of it. There's also a additional department on the first floor that I believe it's for the, let's say, AIDS awareness and also assistant in that. So that's the department that deals with that particular portion. On the second floor, the larger piece is going to be administrative for community service as well. There's going to be training centers also on the second floor. So there'll be training areas in that location. And again, also additional homeless departments that deal and that will be helping throughout the county. So those are all the departments that are currently going to be in there. I might have missed something. Is that okay? All right.
Follow-up?
Thank you.
Follow-up?
What type of outreach do you plan on doing? This property, I'm happy you guys are developing it, but this property, it borders North Shore neighborhood, Echo Lakes neighborhood, Northmore neighborhood, and Northwood Hills. all of which, when they hear the buzzword of homeless services, are going to be alarmed by that. And it's just the way things are. So what are you guys planning to do? Because the Australian project kind of is still a rocky
Yes.
conversation.
So,
So
yeah.
I want you guys to be ahead of the game so you don't have to deal with what happened in that situation.
Thank you, Commissioner Ward, for sharing that. We actually did a community outreach presentation already. So that one was advertised. It was unfortunately not really well attended, which has
Where'd you
surprised
hold
us. It was back in April of last year. I think we sent the information over, but it was held at the county's office. And so I was present, and it was advertised. And it's also in their website. We'll be happy to share it with you if you like.
Another follow-up, sir.
Yes.
Most of those neighborhoods have monthly meetings. I'm happy to set you up so that you could come to them, because that way you'll get increased participation. And again, it's mostly messaging. We
yeah.
have Lord's Place, they do a great job. It's just, we've got the Homeless Services Center on 45th Street. And the communication needs to be there before it kind of turns into something that it's, what I'm thinking that it's not, so.
Yeah, so these are a lot of the administrative offices in order to be able to assist throughout the county. But as I mentioned, they did go through their community outreach meetings, and we also had members in the past during the planning board that came. And I think you don't see a lot of them because we did what we needed to do to help and to outreach.
Yeah.
And so we did provide the information, and again, the county was very mindful of some of those things that are very important in the community because, as you mentioned, there was other projects such as the, Australian, the Australian street and some of the improvements that weren't as received as well, but we were.
I would just caution, if I didn't know about that meeting, and I share a lot of those meetings, I just caution that maybe you do it
Yes,
again. It's just important to over-communicate than under-communicate, especially with these type of projects. The other thing I was going to ask is, we had a lot of community meetings after the fact on the Australian project, and I don't ever remember mentioning a signalization at 42nd. So can you go over that?
Yeah, so that's actually a part of this particular project. It wasn't part of the other project. So that one is really more of a water management and dealing with the whole, this canal expansion. So we recognize that it is important from a safety perspective if we're going to have an entrance now into the parcel, to also make it safe for both the existing residents that's there. So we've been coordinating that, and so that allows left-hand turns from the property, but also allows the community to be able to access properly Australian. So it's very helpful, and it's quite expensive, but we're putting it in here because we think it's the right thing to do. That's what the county's thought process was.
Okay.
President Lambert?
Thank you so much. I agree with Commissioner Ward. I think it's very important that we message to the neighbors that are nearby. There's a lot of residential homes, and just would want to make sure that they're aware
Yes.
of what is happening there, what isn't happening there. And that leads to the question that I had. I know we're not talking about the site plan. However, when you were going over some of the photos, I did notice it looked like a large plaza out front, and I was just curious, is something planned for that plaza, or is that just aesthetics?
No, there's a potential use for community service. They may have, the potential for, meetings that are larger. As I mentioned, they're going to have training sessions as well. So it really is kind of a helpful and nice environment to have, but they'll be able to use that space to be able to, again, communicate with a large crowd, with a large group of people that, would like to come. So it's both pleasant, but it's also functional, and it'll help, create a nice gathering if it's needed. But it's also, during lunchtime, it's beautiful trees, so it's also a very restful and kind of a peaceful environment.
I appreciate that, and I've spent many meetings and hours in the current building, and so I'm grateful to see this refresh, and it sounds like the rest of the staff will be able to be in that building as well?
Yes, they are going to bring all their staff into the building. As I mentioned, the current facility doesn't really accommodate their full staff, and so they have members in different locations. So here they're going to consolidate as much as possible into this particular building. So that's really the motive as why the building's also larger, and it's also going to be planned for the future. So there's future growth potential. So the programming is involved in that respect.
Great, thank you. Let's just make sure that the surrounding neighborhoods understand what's happening.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Commissioner Baduzzi?
Thank you, Mayor. I echo the concerns raised by my colleagues, but I think that this is an opportunity to develop that property further, and I certainly support that. For the benefit of our constituents, especially those living in and around that area, can you just confirm that this site is being developed for administrative offices and there will not be any housing on site?
That is correct, but maybe the community service, if it's okay, maybe he can answer.
Absolutely. Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. James Green, I'm the Director for the Palm Beach County Community Services Department. That building is currently being used for administrative purposes. There are some seniors and some people that come in for like electric bill assistance, those who can't do it online. Most of our services are online, but it is not necessarily a place where homeless people will come to get services. We want to continue to engage with them in the streets and make sure that we're working with the Lord's Place and other engagement centers to provide services to them. But that office is primarily for administrative services. If there are seniors or others who do need to come in, they will have the ability to do so. But as you can see now, if you went to our building, maybe 5 or 10 years ago before COVID, we had a lot of traffic in and out of that building. Now, 95% of the people who are being serviced are being serviced online.
Follow up, please.
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. So if I understand you correctly, administrative use, there certainly will be services offered, and so people will come and go, but
Yes.
no one's going to be staying on that property in
Absolutely
housing?
not. No, there's no one will
No
be staying on.
intentions, nothing?
No,
for doing
absolutely
that in the
not. No,
future?
they're for administrative purposes. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the applicant before we hear from staff? Okay, staff?
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, sir,
Commissioners.
for that presentation.
Okay, good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. Alexis Engler, Planner. I just wanted to start off with a little bit of clarification just for Commissioner Ward and other commissioners. So regarding the new signal, so that came up in the TPS letter. One of their requirements is to add that just because what they're proposing and what they're possibly could be proposing, just for safety concerns. So our traffic team with West Palm Beach and the TPS letter did recommend that signal. And then regarding just the office use, that will operate similar to the 810 operation with appointment only. So it will operate very similar to the existing facility. And then just to clarify with the request of being a rezone, staff did recommend it in early pre-application meetings, converting it to community service plan development, just because since they're doing this in multiple phase projects, just so we can catch everything and do our due diligence in addition to giving them the design, just because since you saw in Alfonso's that phase 2 could be potentially a larger development, so we just want to make sure that everything's going to operate and function correctly. And then the second one regarding phase 2, just our phase 1 of development, tonight you are just voting on the office use and not the extra phase 2s that you saw on that screen. And then
Could you state your name and affiliation for the record, please?
Oh, Alex Singler, Planner. Sorry, Mayor.
That's okay.
And then this is just the rezoning of community service to community service plan development. The use, as you know, is still going to remain the same. The current use is community service. Community service uses will only be allowed in this location. And I'm just going to Staff is recommending approval of the rezone and approval with conditions for the site plan. We did include, just to maintain safety of what they're anticipating in Phase 2, we did want to include conditions to Phase 2. So you'll see that we want them to work with traffic and mobility just to maintain that the traffic and mobility of Phase 2 will be maintained properly and operate. So that's why we included those conditions in that. Are there any questions with me, or do you want to go over any conditions that staff recommended?
Thank you. Any questions for staff? President Lambert?
Thank you. Thank you so much. I just wanted to clarify and make sure I understood what you said, that while you are recommending conditions for Phase 2, when Phase 2 gets further along, it will be coming in front of the commission as well?
Correct, yes.
Okay, and then just another statement, Mayor?
Yes.
I just wanted to say thank you to the county. I mean, these are tremendous services that are being provided, and while we want to make sure that everything works well within the city and for our neighbors and the residents here, I'm extremely grateful that these services are provided. So thank you.
Any other questions or comments for staff? Okay, thank you. Do we have any cards on this? All right. If there are no other discussion, I'll certainly entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move approval of ordinance number 5127-25 at first reading and schedule second reading for May 12th, 2025 for rezoning to change the zoning designation of approximately 41.3 acres located at 4200 North Australian Avenue from community service to community service plan development. This motion is based upon the application submitted, the staff report, factual testimony, the recommendation of the planning board, and the finding that the request complies with the comprehensive plan and the standards in section 94-32 of the city's zoning and land development regulations.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Hearing none. Madam Clerk, can you read the ordinance, please?
Ordinance number 5127-25. An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of West Palm Beach, Florida, amending the zoning map of the City of West Palm Beach by rezoning plus and minus 41.3 acres located at 4200 North Australian Avenue from the community service to community service plan development to create Palm Beach County Community Service Plan Development, providing for the establishment of the development regulations by separate resolution, declaring this zoning map amendment to be consistent with the comprehensive plan of the city, revising the zoning map of the city accordingly, providing an effective date, and for other purposes.
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Hearing no opposition, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. We will now turn to item 10.2, and I will need a motion.
Mayor, I move to continue consideration of ordinance number 5128-25 and resolution number 96-25 to the commission meeting scheduled to begin at 5 p.m. on May 12th, 2025 at the City of West Palm Beach, City Hall Commission Chambers, 401 Clematis Street, West Palm Beach, Florida, 33401.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Hearing no opposition, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item 10.3, public hearing of resolution number 90-25, a request by Matt Wojciechowski, Matt W., of Schmidt Nichols on behalf of Center Park Residences LLC for a major amendment to the Center Park Commercial Plan Development CPD with waivers from the city's zoning and land development regulations to allow for the construction of a 323 residential unit, 12-story multifamily residential building with a 9-level parking garage on property located at 1415 Center Park Boulevard. Mr. Schmidt.
Good evening.
You're not Matt.
Good. Matt's no longer with us, but we get me tonight. So
no, it's a pleasure to have you, sir.
Thank you, Commissioners, for the review tonight. I've just got a few slides for you tonight. We're going to review the site plan, the request, the waivers, and then compliance with the code, and hopefully get your support this evening. The site is located...
State your name for
I'm
the
sorry,
record.
John Schmidt, agent for the applicant. Thank you. Center Park DRI, the Center Park DRI, which is where this is located, was originally approved by the Commission in 1985. It was approved for 1.1 million square feet of office and 250 hotel rooms. It was amended in 2006 to drop the office down to 700,000 of office, 385 hotel rooms, and 1,000 residential units. So it's starting to convert in there. This is going to be the second project. Indigo was the other one with about 250 units. This is, the site is Lot 4S, which is this 2.19 acres. And this was this is the proposed site plan to the left that we'll get into more detail, and the proposed elevations on the right. This was originally before you and approved in 2001 and 2002. It was approved for 8 stories, 93 feet, only 231 units with 46 workforce housing. So in this previous resolution, there is a maximum height that we're within. There is a requirement for the workforce housing units, and particular the highest AMI when this was originally done in 1985. We had a 6-story parking garage with 278 spaces and a parking waiver. We had 5 waivers that were previously approved. In this application, when we actually reduced the number of waivers, and so the intensity is more, but our waivers are actually less. We're asking for a major amendment to increase the building to 12 stories, almost 130 feet, to increase by 92 units to go to 323 units, and the workforce housing to go from the 40 range to 81. We also are removing the commercial space from the bottom floor. We're increasing the parking height up to 9 stories to 548 spaces. All our required parking based on a waiver would be on site. Our waiver is being modified. The waivers we're requesting, number 1 is to modify the trees. Waiver number 2 and 3 have not changed. Those have to do with buffers. And number 4 is the parking. And I'll get into these as we go a little bit further. This is the previous Oasis Tower on the top. And then the bottom was the additional 4 units. So we're increasing the units, and we're also increasing the height. So that's just elevation there. Here's some rendering. So the project on the left was the previous approval. Project on the right was the additional 4 stories added. Our requested waiver was for the on-site trees. So the city's code requires 1 tree for every unit to be put on site. You see this waiver quite a lot, but we're asking for those not only to be on site, but within the overall Center Park DRI. So I'm going to show you where those are planted throughout the DRI. The DRI is, I said, converting, adding residential units. So we're adding those trees to the common areas that are along walkways, activating the parkways and pedestrian areas. So the whole park is kind of giving an upgrade with this because we couldn't fit them quite all on within our 2-acre site. And those green areas are where those trees are going to go. There's very detailed landscape plans that went along with this. Waiver 2 and 3 are actually waivers that were requested working with staff. Standard code would push the building back on the site and have parking forward like you see on the development to the north that was done back in the 80s. What they'd really like to see is the building forward and activate the use. So we pulled the building forward along these 2 streetscapes, and that had to amend the landscaping that goes along there. So the green is where the waiver number 2 is. The blue is we're providing all of the green space, but in the thicker blue area, we didn't think it was appropriate to have a landscape plan right along the lake edge, so we want to keep those vistas open. So that was those 2 requests, and they were in the previous approval. Number 4 was to reduce the parking. The code allows us to ask for a parking waiver up to a 30% reduction. We're asking for 11% reduction. So the code would require, as a ratio, 1.92 spaces per unit. We're providing 1.7 and 553 parking spaces. We did just recently add a new exhibit to this slide, which was the parking waiver request that we just relied on the ITE manual. The ITE manual looks at the parking mix, the size of units, and it really requires only about 1.2. So we're at 1.5. So there's three standards that we need to meet. We're within the 30%. our design and is in a walkable community, and they would provide the shared parking study as part of that request. Staff is recommending approval of these. We meet standards 1 through 8 on the amendment standards, and 1 through 14 on the other amendment standards. Again, we're getting recommended approval for the 92 units with the additional floors from staff, additional 35 workforce units. We reduced the waivers. We've had landscaping within the overall. We reduced to encourage multimodal, which is all through the city. And we have staff report. We also, staff recommendation of approval also went to planning board with a 6-0 vote of recommendation. So I have the team here, our architect, our owner, as well as our traffic engineer, and happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you for that presentation. What percentage of AMI are the workforce units?
These are, so this was approved, the original was approved at 125% AMI for this.
Okay, thank you. Other questions, comments of the applicant before we hear from staff? Okay, thank you, Mr. Schmidt. Staff?
Good evening, Mayor and City Commissioners. For the record, Kevy DeFrank, Senior Planner with the City's Development Services Department. And I will be presenting staff's findings and recommendation for the subject agenda item, which includes resolution number 90-25. I would like to state that the requested waivers, that staff does not object to the requested waivers, and staff finds the request complies with the amendment standards as well as the site design qualitative development standards found in the city's zoning and land development regulations. And on the 19th of February, the planning board voted for approval with conditions of the subject plan development major amendment and waivers requests. And therefore, staff is recommending an approval of resolution number 90-25. And that concludes staff's presentation.
Thank you very much. Any questions of staff? Any other comments? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 90-25. Based upon the application submitted, the staff report, factual testimony, the recommendation of the planning board, the findings of the request complies with the comprehensive plan and the standards in section 94-32A and 94-35C of the city's zoning and land development regulations.
Been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion. Do we have any cards?
It's public comment.
Okay. Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Hearing no opposition, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. All right. We will now turn to comments from the public. We have one card from Jason Moore. Mr. Moore?
Hi, evening. Jason Moore, 1050 Blanche Street. In the past year, Rosemary Avenue between Hibiscus Street and Okeechobee has been closed to cars for the weekend. For this year, I've noticed it hasn't been closed during the weekend as frequently as before. It's no surprise that weekends are usually when more people, families, and children are in City Place. So I'm advocating for closing down Rosemary Avenue between Hibiscus and Okeechobee during all weekends, starting Friday evening to late Sunday night and on holidays. And we can look into having automatic retractable bollards at the end of the street because the signs on the street, when closed, offer no protection. I just saw manual bollards on Clematis, so perhaps we can start with those. And we can look to create and expand on more pedestrian-only spaces downtown. With the recent tragedies with car drivers and crowds of people, it's important to have safe and secure pedestrian-only spaces, safe for children to run around and parents not to worry about drivers speeding up and down that street, safe for people to enjoy City Place and to have events and to activate the space on that street. So once again, let's close down and secure Rosemary Avenue to cars on all weekends and holidays for more fun, pleasant, and safe downtown West Palm Beach. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other cards? Okay. We'll now start with comments from the dais, beginning with you, President Lambert.
Thank you so much. I want to say congratulations to the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. This weekend, they celebrated their 25th annual Triunfo Gala, and at this gala, they were honoring our County Commissioner, Joel Flores, for his leadership in the Hispanic community. I know that Mounts Botanical Garden is not within the city limits. However, it is right on our borders, and I had been there some time ago, but was recently invited to attend again. They have, I think, a quarterly sale of their plants. It is a phenomenal place for just kind of getting away. And, we were talking about mental health and Zen, just a beautiful place that is, right on our borders here. And I would just encourage folks to check it out if you haven't been or haven't been in a while, like I had. Grandview Heights neighborhood held a neighborhood cleanup this weekend, and I just want to say thank you to them for coordinating that. There was roughly a dozen attendees. I want to thank Nathan from the commission office for attending on my behalf. It was great to hear about the residents coming out, helping to beautify and help maintain their neighborhood. Reminder that on May 6th at 5:30 p.m. is the District 5 community meeting with Mayor James and Chief Tony Araujo, although everybody is welcome to attend that. It's at South Olive Community Center, again, May 6th at 5:30 p.m. Mayor, thank you to you and Chief Araujo for hosting those. I've been able to attend them and hear some great feedback and some concerns and ideas for just making sure that our neighborhoods and residents feel safe. And then finally, Mayor, I saw the press release that you sent out regarding PBAU revising their expansion plan, and I was pleased to see this. I know that was something that we had some amount of debate over, and so I'm pleased to see that they're reconsidering that and look forward to what they come up with. So thank you to you and the staff for pushing on that. Thank you.
Commissioner Ward.
Thank you. Another exciting event that's happening in our community, long awaited. I know I'm probably stealing your thunder, but on May 6th, another important event is the Curry Park groundbreaking ceremony. And Administrator Johnson, now you don't have to worry about me emailing you consistently about Curry Park starting. I know that everybody at staff has been working really hard. And Administrator Johnson, thank you for putting up with me. But to the staff, thank you for pushing this along. The community is so excited. And then the next will be, okay, when is it opening? When is it going to? So that'll be the next round of questions. But I'm just so excited. And thank you all for your hard work. It's going to be a fantastic event and a fantastic addition to our city. I want to talk about something that's really not necessarily city related, but I have a mic. I do want to say my heartfelt just sorrow for everybody who has been impacted by the recent shooting at FSU, and especially those who had to deal with not two shootings when they were in lower school and now in college trying to be adults and have fun. And I remember my times in college, and now they have to go through that period of angst and therapy and everything that goes along with being involved in an active shooter situation. And I'm so sorry, and those words don't really do anything for the issue. And I just wanted to share that I find it very fascinating that right now, when we're talking about potentially losing some of our freedoms when it comes to freedom of speech, when it comes to freedoms of due process, that we're still talking about the Second Amendment and the right to bear arms being above anything. And it's really frustrating, and it doesn't matter what aisle you're on. It's just kind of, from someone who likes history and follows politics, it is a little disturbing that we are so willing to bend on freedom of speech and due process, because democracies are fragile, and once you lose a right, it's really hard to get it back. It's really easy to lose it, and you can lose a right overnight, but to earn those back is an arduous process. Like I said, democracies are fragile. dictatorships can certainly be the opposite of fragile. So I just wanted to leave you with that because it's weighing on me, and I really do feel sorry for all of the victims of that event. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Peduzzi.
Thank you, Mayor. I have no comments this evening.
Thank you. Just a few. You all have heard me say it, that public safety is job one, and that continues to be my mantra. One of the reasons businesses and families continue to invest in and call our city home is because of our emphasis on public safety. So last Tuesday, we held our second public safety community meeting as Chief Araujo and I answered questions from residents here at City Hall. I truly appreciate the Chief's transparency in addressing challenges in his department and around the city. It's also extremely encouraging to have new residents and established families so deeply engaged in the conversation about the safety and future of West Palm Beach. And as President Lambert mentioned, our third engagement is set for, I have 6 p.m. here, but on Tuesday, May 6th at the City South End. A safe environment is both a recruiter, and the foundation of West Palm Beach, which is now the nationwide focus as a home for new and growing businesses. One example is that last week I celebrated the relocation of Alvarez and Marsal to our bustling downtown business core. A&M is a huge team of financial advisors with 14,000 employees in 39 countries and 6 continents. Alvarez and Marsal now call West Palm Beach home. This firm, known globally for its diversity and work-life balance, is now literally next door. There's more than just Wall Street South realize. It's new families who find West Palm Beach the best location in which to live, work, and find leisure. A great old anonymous quote says, "Helping a child is the best investment you can make in the future." So last week I had the opportunity to sit down with an amazing and driven young man named Owen, who I think is in the 4th grade. He asked me for a formal interview to complete an elementary homeschool project. He gave great thought and care to his questions, and we were pleased to have him visit City Hall. As mayor, I enjoy engaging the next generation and investing in programs like the Youth Climate Action Fund, where teens and young adults create innovative solutions to climate change. A city of opportunity for all means all, including our children. Speaking of our youth, Grassy Waters Preserve educated close to 800 visitors doing school field trips and public programs last month, and we had 1,000 more visitors than the March monthly average to our nature center and trails. In addition, hundreds of copies of our nonprofit's children's book, Sam the Snail Kite and the Secret of the Everglades, have been purchased in its first month available. We've donated nearly 70 copies to the community initiative, and the Palm Beach County School District has approved the book. We're working to have copies of our book in all school libraries soon. I'll remind you that this book, from concept to character drawings, was created by our own staff here at Grassy Waters Preserve. Few cities anywhere can take pride in such a remarkable effort. And we had our final green market of the season last Saturday, known repeatedly as the nation's best green market. It continues to expand and is a must visit for residents and visitors. I don't think we got number 1 this year, though. We ended up with number 2, but fine. In my mind, we're still the best. A couple of weeks ago, I had a blast at the Green Market's annual Master Chefs Showcase competition. I served as a judge as local chefs battled it out for the best spot with their best culinary creations. Believe me, it was the best tasting assignment I've had all year. See what I did there? Okay. I also want to thank our Department of Community Events, which continues to set the standard by providing engaging public events all year, each year. Tomorrow, I'll participate in another investment for our next generation as part of FPL's Classroom Makeover Grant announcement. FPL will present us with a check that will go towards STEM classroom makeovers. FPL's Next Era Grant program supports local schools in West Palm Beach and throughout Palm Beach County. And thank you for President Lambert for mentioning the great news regarding Palm Beach Atlantic's project. I want to thank publicly Palm Beach Atlantic for coming back with a revised garage structure. I'll be meeting with them early next week to see what the revised structure looks like, but it is another example of a good corporate citizen working to help the city pursue its vision of being a smart city and pedestrian friendly and increased mobility and transportation options, and cutting off to the extent possible our reliance upon cars. The job is to move people and not cars, and certainly want to encourage and uplift our employees as they continue to do the work of providing quality customer service to all of the citizens of West Palm Beach and the businesses that call West Palm Beach home. And I appreciate everything that they do. So that concludes my remarks for tonight. Thank you all. God bless you. God bless the great city of West Palm Beach. Have a great evening, everyone. This meeting is adjourned.